We're joined live by Mr. Dev Karlekar, who's a socio-political activist and entrepreneur, who's joining us live from New York. A very good morning, Mr. Karlekar. Thank you for joining us on Republic TV.
Good morning to you guys. It's a pretty late evening for me.
So first question really to you is that the global stocks have surged, especially the Wall Street coming up with a record high since 2022. That's great news for the market and investor sentiment really. So what are your thoughts on it?
Well, you're right. The market was expecting President Trump to win the election. Whenever any Republican candidate wins the election, it is always good for the market. Predominantly when it comes to the taxes, they reduce the income tax slabs, they encourage the investments, they encourage the entrepreneurship. The whole world was watching the US elections very closely because we are the big daddy of the world, being a 28 trillion GDP economy. Most of the companies have vested interest with us. And our NASDAQ and Dow Jones listed companies have a global presence. So whatever happens, the world basically follows the US steps. So the moment the announcement of President Trump's victory, you will see the Indian markets also scaling up after a couple of weeks of downward trends, as well as obviously the US Dow Jones and NASDAQ also are all-time high.
Mr. Karlekar, as you rightly pointed out, that the world markets really all look up to the US markets for any clues on the interest rates and as well as how particular sectors are performing. In fact, yesterday, the Indian markets were led by the IT stocks. Now, the IT stocks are also a major presence on the US stock exchanges as well as in India. So how is that likely to pan out, especially for the IT sector, you reckon?
So the IT sector is pretty close to me. I am in the IT industry for the last 28 years. I own a few IT services companies. I have predominantly invested in most of these IT biggies, whether it's in TCS or Infosys or Wipro or Cognizant, Tech Mahindra, Zensar, LNTI, Mindtree, L&T Technology Services, Coforce, you name it. These are the companies for the last few decades, slowly and steadily as a retail investor. I have been investing them. Many of these companies like Infosys, Wipro, Cognizant, they also have a US listing. So as a person with a dual heritage, by investing in Infosys, Wipro, Cognizant, as well as some of these banking companies like HDFC, ICICI Bank, you're getting an Indian growth in the USA, which is typically 12 to 15% CAGR, compounded annual growth, in the USA, which is a great return for people like us.
Mr. Karlekar, you're also an entrepreneur. So how do you think this particular win is likely to look for entrepreneurs? Also, since we were talking about the IT stocks and the IT companies' significant presence, help me really understand, because the focus is likely to also be on the H1B1 IT workers. So any thoughts on that?
Again, another great question. So being an IT entrepreneur, our lifeline revolves around the H-1B work visa, which I have been filing through my companies since 2000. Over the last 25, 26 years, over 8,000 employments I've created through my companies. We have filed hundreds of H-1Bs and processed their green cards also. So been there, done that, we understand the entire process. There is a 65,000 quota for the general public across the world, and there's a 20,000 special quota for the people who come into the USA for doing their studies. They will have a US accredited degree, so they will have a special quota. So you will see over and over again, the visa fees has been increasing. During my time, it was $50 to file an H-1B. And in today's time, it varies anywhere from 1,700 all the way to about 3,500, depending upon whether you're a small business or a big business. Meaning if you have a 50 employees and less, your H-1B visa fees at the USCIS filing fees is $1,710. And if you're more than 50 employees, the fee almost gets doubled.
Mr. Karlekar.
So H-1B is the backbone. Basically, these are the high technologies. The USA is built on technology. These are hard to find skills where the US depends upon the specialized skills, and predominantly these skills are coming primarily from India and some from China.
Mr. Karlekar, as you also mentioned, the high skill shortages that are rampant, and the Indian workers sort of fix that gap. Now, Elon Musk has also been a massive cheerleader for Donald Trump, and Donald Trump has also spoken very fondly of Musk, and he's also been a pioneer with his initiatives such as the Starlink and the Tesla ventures. So how would that sort of pan out for the emerging businesses in the US, you reckon?
Well, I have a different view to this. Elon Musk is a very shrewd business person. He is the richest person in the world. If you were to see his Starlink program, he's eyeing for primarily the Indian market, which is about 145 crore population. And using internet through the satellite, he is looking to monetize that. And this is going to give a biggest competition to Reliance Jio and to the other telecom providers, Bharti, Airtel, and a few other telecom operators, because he's providing the state-of-the-art technology. That's on the Starlink internet providing through satellite. The other thing is his EV, that's the Tesla model. Again, he's looking big time for the Indian market and entering into the EV market as his own terms. He tried doing that a couple of times. The Indian Cabinet Minister Gadkariji had a few back-to-back meetings past year, didn't materialize. This time, using the weightage of President Trump, he will be accompanying him 2025 when President Trump comes to the Quad meeting to Bharat. He will be meeting the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as well as the other business meetings he will have, where Elon Musk will be attending those meetings, and he'll be pushing his agenda towards selling his Tesla electric vehicles in the Indian market. Obviously, he has to work as per the Indian government's rules and regulations, but this means a huge market opportunity for Elon Musk for a simple reason. In the USA, 94% of the US household, we have a vehicle, we have a car. When it comes to India, about 7% of the Indian household has a car. So there is a huge potential of the market, which is what he's eyeing for.
Thank you, Mr. Karlekar, for sharing your insights really on the Indian diaspora's effect, the IT workers, and a lot more post the US elections. Thank you so much.